Friday, so hope you keep reading over the weekend. And again, just that reminder to get involved in a local church. If you're local to Port Angeles, Washington, we'd love to have you at Calvary Chapel, 120 West 8th Street, 8:30 or 10:30 on Sunday morning. Check us out at calvarypa.org. Our readings today, May 6, Numbers 14, Psalm 50, Isaiah 3-4, Hebrews chapter 11. Well, in light of the faith challenge that we saw yesterday, where Caleb had it and the others did not, we're going to go to Hebrews chapter 11. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And that's it, right? Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. I absolutely am going to do this. Why? Because God is in this. God is directing. God is clear. Yeah, but you don't see how it all works. You don't know how it's all going to come to. Yeah, but God's with me. Faith is it's hard to grasp sometimes, right? And it begins with believing Jesus is the Son of God, believing that He died on the cross for my sins. For our sins. He rose again, victorious over death and over sin and over the grave. And faith then is to continue to grow. Jesus talked about faith the size of a mustard seed. Just, hey, God, increase my faith. That's a great prayer. That's a prayer God can go, yeah, I like that. That's a prayer Jesus would be like, yeah, let's increase his faith. That's a good prayer. And then in chapter 11, of course, we got all these examples of people who are living by faith. Verse 5, by faith Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death, and he was not found because God had taken him. Verse 6, without faith it is impossible to please him, for whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists, and that he rewards those who seek him. You can't please God without faith. It's that crucial. It's that necessary. Here's what faith looks like. Verse 13. These all died in faith, not having received the things promised, but having seen them and greeted them from afar, and having acknowledged that they were strangers and exiles on the earth. Verse 15. If they had been thinking of that land from which they had gone out, they would have had the opportunity to return. But as it is, they desire a better country, that is, a heavenly one. Therefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared for them a city. And he's going to go on to talk about Abraham and Moses and Joseph. And he said, what more? I don't even have time to talk about Gideon and Barak and Samson and Jephthah and David and Samuel and the prophets and all that they did by faith. The bottom line, verse 39. All of these, though commended through their faith, did not receive what was promised, since God had provided something better for us, that apart from us they should not be made perfect. They didn't see the end many times. It involved torture, it involved imprisonment, stoning, mistreated, destitute, all these things. Living a life of faith. It's dynamic. It's a life that God desires in and for us. Peter says we have all that we need for life and godliness. That's wrapped up in faith. Because you're saying, I trust you, God. I trust that all that I need is found in your word. And the gaps, I'm going to believe. I'm going to believe. Because what I know is solid. What I know, what God has promised, is good. And so, what steps of faith are you taking? Sometimes it's just little things. Maybe it's time for a big one. As you've been practicing that faith muscle, it grows and gets stronger, and you can take bigger steps. Not of presumption, but of a time spent seeking God and then stepping out by faith. For him to meet that need, for him to fill that gap, for you to do that ministry, serve in this way or that way, out of your comfort zone, whatever it might be. never stop growing in faith. Never stop taking steps of faith. It's one of the things I'm praying for right now, is that this year there would be some amazing steps of faith taken in my life, in our church, and by all who hear. Till next time, keep growing little by little.